So here we are. Hey, AJ, thank you for moderating the stream. Hey, Spectre, hey, Theodorus, nice to see you on the stream. Sorry for this hiccupy start again. I don't know how that works. I do a test like 5 minutes before. CD Radar, hey, welcome to the stream. You're that I've got a cold and I need to push that cough button on my microphone every now and then now because yeah, I don't want to blow your ears up with that. Well, yeah, and speaking about that, you are all lucky that you did not hear my rant about why it is not working again. That's why you test it and then you start it up again and then it does not work. So maybe you should just use the first try and go with it. I did, yeah, AJ, you heard my rant. Was loud enough to hear it around the world, I guess. Yeah. Was it scheiße? Yeah, it was something along this line. Yes, a very short disclaimer. Please never forget we are talking about playing computer games, even if we are trying to understand the concepts involved as thoroughly as possible. We are not talking about running the real railways, so leave the real railways and installations alone. Spectre says German language has many possibilities for expressing frustration. Yeah. I touched quite a lot of them in my rant, I guess. Well, what are we going to do today? We are looking at West Somerset Railway Remastered. Why are we doing this? Because Dovetail Games gave us a remastered version of the West Somerset Railway, and yeah, it has always been one of my favorite routes. It is maybe sometimes a bit not so spectacular route because you're always going very slowly, but it looks very beautiful now that it got remastered. Meanwhile, Poland has that one special word, says Theodoros. Yeah, I got to get my brain out of this ranting and what words can be used for it. I know one language with lots of those words. Yes. I guess you do, guys. Now let's get back to something more nice and tidy like the West Somerset Railway in the remastered version, and I think I will add another stream with a little bug hunt for that, because there are still some things that are, in my opinion, not working as they are supposed to do, but all in all it is super beautiful. In my opinion, it is super beautiful, this route, even more than it was before, and driving along it is a bit like tending to your Zen garden. Obviously we're using the new Steam. You see, I played it quite a lot already. What I don't like is that you can drop out of this menu here if you scroll too far, right? Like this here. Scroll. No, I'm not dropping out. Don't know how I managed this before. So I played quite a lot of them already. And yeah, it is like tending to your Zen garden. You get slowed down. It is just for the enjoyment of it. So what did I want to do? I want to turn on the service marker so that I know which one I was supposed to play. Of new road, Salzburg-Rosenheim has just got announced in TTG stream. Ah, Salzburg-Rosenheim, that is good, so we can use more of our Austrian signaling for the Salzburg part. So maybe we're getting the rail chat then. Finally. Or is this not running on Salzburg-Rosenheim? Well, those are the things I would love to see. That the Semmeringbahn will come with 111, and it is said to have lots of layering. I see. So the 111, that is interesting. That's actually the oldest locomotive in Germany that you can still see a lot on the tracks. Every time the new Skoda Baureihe 102 break down, then they send the old 111. 1216 Taurus and Railjet Amen. Alright. So that is what we can look forward to for future thingies. What we are doing today is looking at the remastered version of the West Somerset Railway, and in connection with level crossing signaling. CD Radar says, I used to ride there every week on the Semmeringbahn. That's cool. So we are getting both, is it so? Semmeringbahn and Salzburg-Rosenheim. This is our train. Stanier 8F locomotive, more used for freight services, to be honest. But here with Mark I cars, vacuum braked, and from what I have seen, you really need to be careful with the vacuum brakes here. Just use them between 4 and maybe 30% maximum in the application, otherwise you won't get anywhere. So why does this sometimes happen? That the Minehead is so light and you can't really see that properly. I've not managed to find out when this happens or what causes this to happen. Yeah, every HUD does this, that it goes faint. Well, I guess it is every HUD, but this is the only HUD that I usually see. And Hank is doing his thing, yeah. Hank, you got to get the boiler running. Yeah, and he is doing well. I'm using the external camera so that we can see more of the route. And we can at the same time see the steam pressure gauge. It won't let me share my sub anniversary. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that something that I have to allow you to do? Let's look into this later. For now, let's get this train rolling. Up the hill to Crowcombe, Heathfield. Starting at Bishops Lydeard. And even though nobody asked for it, a drive-by. Also, I will try to guess the speed. Not look so much on the pause screen. Just let's try guessing the speed. So it's your 6-month anniversary Anniversary? Can there be a 6-month anniversary? That is weird. Always thought an anniversary is annual. So, rest of the train has to pass the marker here, then we can accelerate beyond 10 miles. Like now. Half anniversary, yes. Oh. I overdid it obviously again. Hank, you gotta throw more coals into the fire. We are losing pressure. Now we shall be good. Now we're getting closer to the 25, I guess. A bit more room there is. Yeah, driver assist. If there is one thing that I hope they never invented, it's the driver assist. So we're running in February. Oh, did we actually go beyond the 10 in the beginning? Looking at the score, seems a bit like it. I meant to play it in summer or spring so that we have the full green of the British countryside. But nevertheless. Now it's February, maybe we're getting some snow instead. See, the radar bought a new car. Congratulations. So now you gave up traveling by train and are going everywhere in your car. A train-related car? That's interesting. How can a car be train-related? Not car, top. Never mind. Well, maybe my cold blocked my brain. It is a Skoda. Ah, that makes it train related. I see. So, safety valve is going off. Okay. The other day I said to AJ that I always have the impression that this landscape here is what the Shire must have looked like, where the hobbits live. That Brits are small. No, I'm not saying this. But I think this is the rolling hill, green countryside. Yes, Theodora says make warm tea from the local boiler's heat to help with the cold. I should do this. My tea has already gone cold a bit. So do we have... Here we actually have some tea on us. But this is Hank's. I would not want to take this away from him. Considering there is an open cabin. Spoiler alert, the Fellowship of the Ring could have just flown to Mordor on one of those giant birds, yes. But then they might have been spotted. In the absence of a Shire railway, yes. Well, isn't this the Shire railway here? Totally looks like it. You don't want to start a fight with me about Lord of the Rings. Well, I always thought the idea was of this low level approach so that nobody takes them seriously, instead of barging in on a big eagle. Yes, the West Somerset Railway. When we are going to talk about the level crossing signaling, I got to say in advance that obviously the West Somerset Railway is not necessarily network rail signaling rules controlled. So that what is true for network rail signaling territory does not necessarily need to be applied here. But nevertheless, it is the only route where we can actually see a lot of those signage constellations for level crossings, different kinds of level crossings. And they are animated nicely here. So the Minehead gives you always a little leeway. As soon as the 25 turns yellow, you're not necessarily docked with the points. But if you react fast enough, then you can get away with this little speeding. Crowcombe Heathfield. Here the caution signal. Actually switchable, but always on. Level crossing is a big subject now in the Czech Republic. Oh, we will have to get to this later. What the issues are in the Czech Republic. I find it a quite difficult stop here, because at the beginning you're still running uphill, and then about halfway in the platform you're running downhill. So that it is sometimes not so easy to stop your train in front of the red signal at the end of the platform. It's not a problem today because the signal is already green. Because the truck got stuck at one crossing and the train driver unfortunately did not survive the collision. Oh, that is bad. Yeah, but that is, so to say, a classic with level crossings and trucks that for whatever reason are too slow or too heavy or too big to get across the level crossing properly. So here we are. Unfortunately already late. And on our way down from here to Crowcombe, we will see, at least the signals are on the driver's side. Yeah, true. Thank you, driver assist. I already have the cylinder cocks open. Don't you worry. The station names could come right out of a Harry Potter movie. Yeah, that's true. Crowcombe. Now running downhill. Yes, we talked about this, Alice, right? The Hogwarts Express DLC. Maybe we get this for Christmas someday. So, here to the left we can see a so-called warning board announcing a level crossing that is still to come. Then we get first an old-fashioned whistle board, SW for sound whistle. Then there is the level crossing for the sound whistle, not the one that we got the warning board for. And here is a combined speed and whistle board with a 25, what is a bit weird because the 25 is already the line speed. And typically you get those combined boards with much lower speeds, like 5 or 10. Theodoro says, same thing happened not long ago in my city. The train driver survived but got burned because it was a diesel locomotive. Yeah, bad things. Here we see the level crossing with its white flashing indicator telling us that the road warning lights are working properly. The wigwags here on the left that do those annoying sound. That sounded like mandrakes. Alright. So we're doing a Harry Potter Lord of the Rings West Somerset Railway mashup today. Here's the next warning board. And to spoiler that, this combination of combined speed whistle board and driver's level crossing indicators, the white flashing ones, is not in accordance with the rules that you can get from the the RSSP rulebook. We will get to this as soon as we are stopping in not Cucumber, Stocumber. So we got the warning board, so there has to be a level crossing here again, 25, with whistling and indicators, flashing white indicators. And soon enough we get the mandrake sound again. CD Radar says, unfortunately nowadays it is cheaper to transport by truck than by rail. For example, the already mentioned Skoda Auto transports its parts between production plants by trucks, despite the fact that the railway runs there mainly because of the price. Yeah, well, that is actually bad. So why I'm getting all those lags in my game here all of a sudden? Now they announced the San Bernardino line, another Metrolink route. Oh, cool. Some more SCRR signaling. Cool. But let me guess, they are still not implementing the IETMS. Yes, Theodoros. We had the same thought. Spectre says, I'm not sure if I want them to try. Well, to be honest, it is not so far away from what you get on the pause screen, right? So, arriving at Stogumber. Don't worry, those vacuum brakes, they stop the train. Much too early anyway. It is really very sensitive. As soon as you apply like 10%, the brakes kick in. I thought you got distracted again. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the reminder. Yeah, you can see how I got distracted. But well, if you don't have a speed clock on your locomotive, they have to allow my presentation. They have to allow for some leeway. Let's see if I can get the presentation running. Since I had to restart my PC, everything is out of order. This Tesla full self-driving will arrive earlier than than the IETMS in Train Sim 4. You never know. Well, my presentation about level crossing. If you look at the rules for level crossings, you get really a lot of funny acronyms. And then you find rules that tell you something about at an AHPL crossing, something happens like this and so on. And this is why I first wanted to try to get some order into the different kinds of level crossings that there can actually be. And types of level crossings, and according to this module in the RSSB Driver's Handbook, the TW8 Level Crossings Driver's Instructions. This is where I got my intel from for today. There are different types of level crossings, and one thing that we always have to make sure is that some level crossings are controlled, and if they are called controlled, then they are controlled by someone other than us, a signaler or whoever is controlling this level crossing. In former days, maybe actually an attendant who lived there next to the level crossing, and his whole job in life was opening and closing the gates and barriers, and now more like people sitting in signal boxes and controlling those level crossings. The old idea was to control them at the location, manually controlled crossing gates. That will be the MG type with gates. We will see later level crossings with gates. So those are not those barriers that are lowered and raised, but gates that are actually swung around to close the way for the cars or respectively for the trains then. And The MCB kind will be the manually controlled crossing with barriers. Those are actually controlled by someone living next to the level crossing. So maybe it is a level crossing next to a station, so it is not so bad, or in a dedicated booth where this guy is sitting and controlling the level crossing. So this is more or less the traditional older stuff. And then obviously you can also control them remotely. Remotely controlled with barriers would be the version where someone is, at least this is what you can read about, if you try to figure out how they are actually built. Someone that actually might sit in a booth that is a bit remote, but he can still look at it and control it from there, and in bad visibility conditions he actually had to send his help to go there and signal him that everything is okay. That is also called MCBR, not only this here. The more modern kind is that those level crossings are controlled with cameras, with CCTV cameras. Barrier crossing, so the gates did not come over into the modern life, but the barriers is what was used, and those are the types that are generally used, so that a guy in the signal box can see on the cameras if the crossing is clear and control the level crossing properly. Sometimes you can find this with this MCB put up in front of it. So this would be manually controlled barriers remote, manually controlled barriers CCTV, manually controlled barriers, manually controlled gates. What is also mentioned in the rules is a more modern type, even with an obstacle detection system, what is probably based on radar or LiDAR, so that there is an automatic system that detects if there is some obstacle like a truck in the level crossing, so that you would not want the train to allow to pass this level crossing, and then there would be an alarm or the train would be stopped or whatever. Also called MCB, manually controlled barrier with obstacle detection. And in between, not mentioned in the RSSB rules, but for example on the Wikipedia page about level crossings in Great Britain is a version of the camera variety that are on call. So those are typically closed, but if someone wants to pass the level crossing, can push a button or use a telephone to ask for the gates or the barriers being opened so that they can pass. These are controlled crossings. They are controlled by someone other than us as a train driver. Then there are automatic crossings. Automatic crossings, as opposed to controlled crossing, is that they are functioning autonomously and are not controlled by someone, but they have a machinery where some sensor is actually activating the barriers or the traffic warning lights, and then this whole machinery is set in motion. So if a train comes and passes this sensor, then the lights start flashing and the gates start closing and so on. So they are not controlled, but they are working automatically. With automatic stuff, you need someone to monitor it, to make sure that this automatic stuff is actually working properly. And this would lead us to the first kind of an automatic open crossing, locally monitored. Automatic, it is open, meaning it does not have barriers, but it has traffic warning lights, those wigwags, the red lights that flash alternatingly. Open crossing, no barriers. It is locally monitored, and if it says it is locally monitored, that means it is us who is monitoring it, the driver, who has to pay attention, and this is what those white flashing indicators that we have seen already are for. So this is when we are looking at those indicators and see they are flashing with the white light, then we are monitoring the level crossing that it is working properly. The same version exists with half barriers, automatic barrier crossing, locally monitored. So the difference between those two is they do not only have the traffic warning lights, the road warning lights, but also a half barrier typically that is lowered. There is a version of them where open crossings got retrofitted with barriers. Open crossings, locally monitored plus barrier. Difference is that the barriers are not, as much as I understood that they are not really linked into the whole proceeding as in the barrier crossing here. That one, they have barriers, but they are not linked into the whole process. Then there are a couple of rare crossings that are automatic crossings with full barrier crossings, locally controlled. What is the problem with full barrier crossings? Well, quite obviously, you can trap something in the level crossing if you're lowering the full barriers. The half barriers have the advantage that someone who is still on the level crossing when the barriers are closing can still leave the level crossing. Full barriers prevent stuff from entering the level crossing, but also from running away, what can be a problem. Also, you can find a version of crossing that is automatic crossing, automatic open crossing, remotely controlled. So this would be something that would be controlled from someone sitting in a remote position. And a couple of decades ago, this was more or less the type of level crossing, from what you can read, that was installed a lot, but it did not really work out. It wasn't really as safe as it was hoped to be. Excuse me once more. And so according from what you can read in the sources is that there is only one of those crossings still active somewhere in Scotland. All the others have been worked into some other type of crossing. Then you have the automatic half barrier crossing. That is one that is not locally monitored, but it is remotely monitored. What has half barriers. So we can see this blue frame here covers all the crossings that we as a driver do not really have to care about so much, because the controlling or monitoring is done by someone else in a remote position. Obviously, we still have to check if the crossing is clear, otherwise we will have to stop our train. But we do not have to actively monitor the working of the level crossing. It is different if we have a locally monitored crossing like the AOCL or the ABCL, open crossing or half barrier crossing. This is where we have to make sure at a certain point that the white flashing indicator is lighting, and by that see that the crossing is working as supposed. Well, what other crossings are there in the rules? There are some crossings that are called RG, crossings with red and green warning lights, sometimes also called miniature warning lights or miniature stop lights in some sources. This is typically a kind of a crossing that works a bit like a pedestrian traffic light. So if a pedestrian wants to cross a road or a street, they can push a button, and after that the traffic light will allow them to pass the street. And this is not completely different from what this kind of crossing is for the railway. So if you want, as a pedestrian for example, or even with your car, want to cross this level crossing, you can wait for a green light and then pass it. All in all, the types of level crossing that are used in the United Kingdom, there are many different types actually. So don't look all the same, but there are many different types over the decades and still in use. Apart from those controlled crossings and automatic crossings, there are still some that are a bit more weird. We have barrow and foot crossings with white light indicators user work. This is what the rules call them. Those are pedestrian crossings typically. They also have those white light indicators so that you can see that the crossing stuff is working properly. A barrow crossing would be what you have in stations often. So where in former times the porters would carry the luggage with the barrows over the rails in front of the train or behind the train. And those RG crossings. They can be automatic or they can be user worked. So sometimes they just switch between red and green automatically, or the user needs to do something for the crossing to allow him to pass. So there are a lot of crossings with a telephone where someone who wants to cross the railway line can actually call the signaler and ask for the crossing to be activated or opened for him. Or there are things where you have to push a button or whatever. So there are many different installations of that kind. And that's a thing that we do not have in Germany, for example, at all. At least I don't remember ever having seen something like this. Train crew operated crossings, called TMO in the acronym language of the RSSB rulebook. That would be a crossing where the train actually has to stop in front of the crossing. Then the guard, if there is one, jumps off the train and pushes a button or actually uses a crank to lower the barriers. And then the train passes the level crossing and stops again because the guard needs to open the barriers again and needs to get back on the train. So this is obviously a quite cumbersome type of crossing, but they are in the rules, but doesn't say a lot about them. And then there are just open crossings without barriers, gates, or road warning lights. So they are just what it says, crossing of a path or a road across the railway line without any installations, without barriers, without gates, without road warning lights. Sometimes there is a sign asking you to be careful, and sometimes there is not. So this is the typology of level crossings that you can encounter according to the rules. A lot of acronyms, interesting for us as a driver, and is especially to know which crossings we have to monitor. They are automatic and we have to monitor, which we have to operate obviously, but there are none in the games, at least not what I have seen, and which of them are actually controlled by someone else. Stop, look, listen. Yes, CD radar. Yes, that is what the sign says. TMO must be fun thing to do in winter rain. Yes, Theodorus, it must be a lot of fun to stop your train, hop off the train, lower the barriers by hand, and then wait for the train to pass and then open the barriers again. So this does not really work on high-speed routes, obviously. Yeah. So what is interesting for us in the game are those types of crossings, the automatic crossings that we as a driver have to monitor, locally monitored. So if at those crossings, we actually have to make sure, just a bit like with the German signaling system on the Niedertalbahn, to make sure that the crossing actually works. So you remember Niedertalbahn BU0 and BU1, if it does not flash if the white light does not flash, we have to stop and activate the crossing by hand. And it is not so much different here. We have to look for the white flashing light here to see that the crossing installations are actually working. And for the open crossings, we also have rules in our RSSB book. So how would that look in signage for the automatic open crossing locally monitored or the automatic barrier crossing locally monitored? The rules, this is section 6.1 or section 6, no, 6.1 actually in the hand signals, indicators and signs. A section of the rule book give you that sequence. You get a warning board first so that you are warned that there is a level crossing ahead. And then at a certain point you get a sign like this. You have this now. It is not like in the English flag, a rectangular cross, but it is a St. Andrew's cross here with a speed indicated. And obviously this is the speed that is valid for passing the level crossing. And it starts at this sign. And this is the point where you have to make sure that the driver's level crossing indicator is actually flashing white. At this point, if you get with your train to this sign here and the driver's level crossing indicator is not flashing white but is off or is red or flashing red even, then you have to stop your train in front of the level crossing and make sure that it is safe to cross it. If the white light is flashing, it tells you the level crossing is working correctly. It does not necessarily tell you it is safe to pass the level crossing, so you still have to look if there is maybe a truck trapped in the level crossing. But at least you know that the installations are working as they are supposed to, and still have to make sure that the crossing is clear, and then you can pass it. And the speed that is prescribed here starts at this sign and it ends as soon as the front of the train is on the crossing. And this is a thing that has not been implemented in the game so far. Typically with all level crossing signage, it is just the speed limit until you get the next speed limit again, and the whole train has cleared this section of a speed restriction. If you remember, we talked about this on the Niedertalbahn, that there are ways to signal that the train can actually accelerate as soon as the tip is on the middle or on the crossing. And here it is as default in the rules. As soon as the front of the train is on the crossing, it can accelerate back to line speed, what is obviously different from what we usually have, that the train has to clear the whole section to be able to accelerate again. But this is not been implemented in the game so far, unfortunately, because that sometimes slows you down to very, very slow speeds in this DLC here. The other indication would be stop before level crossing, as we have already mentioned. Steady red light, a flashing red light, or no light at all, a black indicator, would also require you to stop. The rules specifically say what you have to do if the white light is lit up steadily and not flashing. But I would suggest in this case to also stop before the crossing and make sure, because there's also some rules that say that if the stuff is not working as it is supposed to, then you have to tell the signaler and then pass it with caution only. But I don't know. I don't know if that is what the ruling for this is actually. It is just not mentioned what happens if the white light is lit up steadily. Then we have the same thing that we know from other speed boards, that there can be speeds that apply to a specific type of train, like freight trains and passenger trains typically. So you have the lower number for freight trains and the higher number for passenger trains. And if you are running an ETCS train, another thing that they have to implement in the game still, then you are not getting any indication for the speed, because the speed indication is given to you on your cab display, the DMI, the driver machine interface, right? And or human machine interface, HMI, depends on how you want to call it. So you can see this speed in your cab display, and this marker here tells you from which point in the real world it starts and where you have to check for the indicator. It is called a sighting board, and it also it only applies to trains that are run by ETCS or ERTMS. Sometimes you get boards where you have the St. Andrews cross not above the speed indication but next to it. I think there are some of them in the West Somerset Railway. At least I think I have seen some of them. Maybe they are still there. This is the so-called wrong direction board. This is on some lines where you have a direction of traffic that is going in one direction, and you have also a level crossing that can work train traffic in the opposite direction. For example, there are indicators on both sides. Then you can get from the secondary direction a wrong direction board. At least this is what is stated in the rules. In the rules there is specifically stated also that this can have not black on white but white on black, and this is the same thing that we have seen on the Javelin, for example, that black on white always means miles per hour and white on black always means kilometers per hour. Why it is only given in the rules for those wrong direction boards and not for the speed restriction boards, I don't know. But in the rules it is only mentioned here for the wrong direction boards. In the sectional appendixes you can identify level crossings that have a secondary installation for the opposite side of traffic by acronyms that look like this: AOCL-X or ABCL-X, HBC-X. Those acronyms tell you that those level crossings actually have a wrong direction installation to govern them. Yeah, but those are not the signs that we have seen so far. We have seen was the signage for an open crossing that is given in the rules as well. It starts just the same with a warning board, and then you get this combined speed and whistle board. You have to whistle, and from this point on you have to slow down, and from this sign on again until the front of the train is on the crossing, and then you can actually accelerate again. Not in the game unfortunately, but in real life you would be allowed to accelerate back to line speed as soon as the train is on the crossing, because the old idea, as soon as the crossing is occupied by the train, how much stronger a warning can there be for any motorist coming to this level crossing to not try to cross it, as if the train is already on the level crossing. So going slow is not really necessary anymore. Yeah, CD Radar says that makes a lot of sense. True. I totally agree. You can have differential speeds here, and yeah, let's take out this stuff here. What we have seen in the game though was a combined speed and whistle board with a quite high speed, the 25 that we have as line speed anyway, and then a level crossing indicator, but typically there is no level crossing indicator here because it is an open crossing. It is not an automatic crossing. Those things are also only for automatic crossings. At least according to the Network Rail RSSB rules, West Somerset Railway can do whatever they want to do. But it is fair to say that this is not a combination that you can find in the rulebook. At least I was not able to find this combination of combined whistle and speedboards with this level crossing indicator. Yeah. Later at the Dunster, I think we find those boards with a 5 indication. That makes a lot of sense in this situation. I think they reworked those 2 level crossings between Crowcombe, Heathfield, and Stoke-on-Humber, and put those level crossing indicators there. I can't remember that they have been there before, but maybe I'm wrong about this. And with the 25 speed, you would probably rather expect a sign of this kind, a speed restriction board, and not a combined speed and whistle board in those situations. On the Wikipedia side, I think this is stated that the open crossings with boards like this can also can only be used for speeds up to 10 miles per hour, and this is what the example values are that are in the rule book. All right, what does it look if you come to it roadways as a car, an open crossing? St. Andrew's Cross. It can have, if there are actually more than one line to cross, it can have an additional bar underneath this St. Andrew's Cross to tell the drivers that they have to pass more than one line. Whereas here, with this type of crossing, you would find those funny things with the white and red border and the 3 lights. And here you can also see the half barriers that are lifted here, and that can obviously be lowered to block entrance for the cars. And when they are activated, it will first start showing an amber light, at least since 1968 or something, after they had a big accident with a truck that did not manage to pass the level crossing in time. And so they installed the amber lights as a pre-warning before then the red lights start flashing alternatingly, and then the barriers are actually lowered, and the sound is already played as soon as the amber light is on, because they have this alternatingly flashing pattern. It is called a wig-wag, also like wagging a tail of a dog. Wish, 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 wish. Yeah. On AOCL's automatic open crossings locally controlled, you would have again the St. Andrew's Cross on top of this wig-wag thingy. What we have here on this line are those very simple crossings. I used a dirt road here for making it clear. We just have a whistle board, an oldish whistle board. Obsolescent, obviously it is still used, but it is no longer in the official rulebook here, the sound whistle board. And yeah, just like CD Radar said, stop, look, listen, beware of trains. Either you have a sign like this warning you not to just wander on the level crossing, or on some crossings there is not even a sign of that kind. You just have to make sure that you cross the line only if there is no danger of getting hit by a train. Another thing that you can find in the rules is that the signaler can tell you that that a specific level crossing is for some reason under local control. If something broke, for example, or there is construction work or whatever, Signal can tell you that the level crossing is under local control, and then you have to look for an attendant that is appointed to this level crossing to give you an okay to pass it by holding up a green hand signal, that is a green flag during day or a green lamp during night. So there would actually be a person there allowing you to pass the level crossing with this kind of green hand signal. It says, oh, I guess the German ones don't look like that. The German ones look not so dissimilar, I would say. And I was wondering what you would find funny about it. The Czech ones look similar in a dog's tail to a dog tail ones. Yeah. Well, it makes a lot of sense like this. Well, I remember when we went to Belgium the other week, I was actually stopping in front of a level crossing because I was not sure what the light was indicating that was shown on the installation there, until I found out that it was a white light that allowed you to pass the level crossing. But I wasn't sure whether it was a white light or a green or a yellow light because it was a bit dirty. Well, talking about hand signals, in case that you have a signal in front of the level crossing, like a red one that does not allow you to pass the level crossing, for example, then you would not get a green hand signal, at least not as much as I understand the rules, but a yellow one that allows you to pass a signal at danger. So if you have any signal that qualifies as a signal at danger, a red one, you wouldn't get a green hand signal, but a yellow one that also in other contexts allows you to pass a signal at danger. So it is a less high threshold to pass a signal at danger here with the green hand signal, and don't need a written order like in German train law to pass it. I think that is what I wanted to say about the crossings today. Maybe with the black one as well. I'm not sure if a black indicator would require a yellow hand signal or a green one. Maybe someone who knows can tell us. Yeah, station duty is another presentation that we will do soon. Back to our train in Stogumber. Okay, I was just looking at the Semmeringbahn and I'm super excited about that line even without the railjet. Yeah, I guess those are interesting things to look out for. Right there, they are finishing a tunnel that will skip the entire line, so there is still a few years, the last chance to ride a railjet there. That's what CD Radar wrote. Chili, you gotta wait, we cannot go out now. My dog wants to go out again. I have been out with her like 4 times today already. Dogs are great, says Spectre. Greetings from my 2. Oh, that's nice. Greetings to your 2 dogs then. Remembering like this makes me miss my previous job. When you worked on the railshed, CD Raider? Yep. And Spectre, yes, dogs are great. Unfortunately, our 2 dogs had to have surgery last week. And CD Raider totally agrees with the dogs. That's good. Both at the same time, actually. That was a bit weird. My dog was not doing so well for a couple of weeks, and we finally had her x-rayed, and yeah, she needed to have a tumor removed. And then we got the other dog to the clinic for a blood donation, and then we saw that she needed to have surgery too, because she had a condition that we could not see from outside. Oh my god, he says, all the best to the little ones. Thank you very much. Yeah, with my dog, she actually would not eat anymore because the tumor was taking up so much room in her belly that her stomach was squeezed to the edge. Now that it has been removed, she's eating 5 times a day to make up for all the lost weight. Theodora says, in where I live, the level crossings always have a guard to manually lower down the barrier, carefully avoiding the road user. If it was automatic, a lot of people would get slapped in their face because they just won't. Okay. The radar says, well, I guess that is the one way to learn to stop, to take the barrier seriously. So again, where is this weird lag coming from? I wasn't there when I last played it. Caution signal for Wilton. Yeah, I guess on the other side, yeah. On unidirectional lines, they have it sometimes on the left side, sometimes on the right side. But always pointing to the left. Here's the main signal, the enter signal is off. Oh, it's not actually the enter signal, it is the signal before the enter signal. Darwin Award contestants for the level crossings. So, what is happening here with my game? Why is it lagging so hard? Funnier thing is, Theodora says, even when the barrier is fully down, the motorcycle is sometimes lifted up and crouch underneath it. Yep. Darwin Award contestants, this is what you have to assume. There is no time to lose if you are a motorcyclist. So, what do we have here? 15, I guess. And I actually overbraked it again. On the net there are compilations of CCTV videos where people make it out of a crossing at the last second. Grueling stuff, says Spectre. Yeah, seen some of that too. So, 2 minutes late we are. Not to get too close to the signal. Don't forget that there is the boiler. Ah. I wanted to open the cocks, not close the doors. Signal is cleared. Who got so many people, so life is cheap and safety isn't really the top priority. Theodore says can't really make it automatic either because that would remove the guard's job. Yeah, well, in Germany probably wouldn't get anywhere then because the guards would go on a strike and then we can't have any trains anymore. No, we actually have to stop in Donnyford Halt. It is what it is. Well, different solutions for different situations. So Donnyford Halt is the spot where we have the AWS cancelling indicator for the unidirectional lines. Open the doors even if there is no platform for our long train. Here the cancelling indicator does not really apply to us. Here is the magnet that corresponds to it, because we don't have an AWS equipment on this locomotive. Actually, we're going out, but first I have to finish this run here. A bit late, but I think dogs would love those fields we're passing. True. They'll tire themselves out in no time, yeah. They would totally love that. AJ, you're already asleep, aren't you? So she can't take Chili out. She's sitting next to the door. Yeah, I see. Well, I'm afraid I have to take a little break and get the dog out. Excuse me, but I don't want there to be a faux pas with the dog. Be back in like 5 to 10 minutes. So, finally. So the Taurus is coming with the Semmering. So maybe it will layer on to other routes like SKT, Munich, Augsburg. They should do more layering in Germany. More ICE. Yes, can't have enough ICE layers. So, I hope the dogs will let me finish this service in peace now. Approaching Watch It. And here, let's see. Let's look at the situation in photo mode. To come back to the topic of level crossings. Here we have the situation with the 10 and the whistle board, combined speed and whistle board. We did not get a warning board before that. But here it is actually an open crossing without indicators and with the radar stop, look and listen signs. Oops. Spectre says I still have to try the remastered route, because I only have diesel trains. The experience will be a little different. You don't have the steam trains? No Steam DLCs so far. Well, theoretically it can layer to other routes. Also there is great liveries mod for the Baureihe 101, but for German IC train I'm hoping for the rear coach with a driver cab. Yeah, the driving trailer for the IC train, that would be something. Yeah, to be honest, I got the Spirit of Steam DLC with, I think, the deluxe edition of Train Sim World 3. And I was not really interested in Steam before that. But now I am. Absolutely, says Spectre, that would be great. A 5 or 10 loco livery set with the 101 in different ad liveries and cab car. I would buy the second it comes out. Oops. I missed my limit to 20. Like they did with the 4 on Horseshoe Curve. Here a level crossing that does not have anything. But on the Horseshoe Curve they did not have a driving trailer. But the driving trailer for the 101 would be really cool. Yes, Spectre, I'm sure. I meant the Heritage Livery Pack with 9 or so machines, yes. I don't own it, but I know what you meant. Driving trailer for the 101 would be the icing on the cake. I'm not exactly sure what they did in the remastering of this route, but it looks much better, in my opinion, than the TOD4 on Southeastern High Speed or Spirit of Steam, where you often have this washed out characteristic, and here it looks much better. A modern left Rhine. Yeah. Nothing against the 103, but running 101s there would be so nice. That is true. As cool as the historic DLCs are, Hank, please throw in some more coals. It prevents the layering of the motor of the modern machines. Beer garden on the left, yes. The beer garden in Washford. I tend to overbrake all the time. It is so touchy with those brakes, to be honest. Ah. And the platform is not long enough for the whole train if I brake so early. I stop so early. Now we got some snow actually. This time you're right. The driver assist. Oh. So, Blue Anchor, Dunster, and then we are at Minehead. We're getting some snow. I saw on YouTube some of user-made routes: Köln, Düsseldorf, Nürnberg, München. Cool. Nürnberg, München. Nürnberg, München via Ingolstadt or via Augsburg? Ingolstadt probably. So, touchy brakes and lags, that is not what you want to have. Remaster of historic routes could be done by third-party user-made once we can actually share our user-made contents. That is actually a thing. You still can't save any PUC files from the editor, can you? The high-speed line via Ingolstadt, yeah, I gathered as much. Don't really know the progress on sharing thing, at least not yet as common as Train Sim Classic under user-made contents. A static caution signal. I would have thought that those lamps on the static caution signal should have yellow lamps or yellow lenses on the lamps, but they are white here. Yeah, the 10 starts at the signal already. What I've not heard so far is the AI horns that were promised actually with the remastered version. So, Here we have... What's that? One of those crossings with gates that can actually swing open to either block the way for the trains or for the road. Connected obviously with a signal here, so I guess manually controlled from someone sitting in a signal box here. Switching to green, and now the gates are closing for the road. And we are back on the timetable. Did I not open the cocks? I did not. Better close the doors since it is cold. And the cars have to wait. So, gates don't have indicators, don't have road warning lights. They just have those big red dots to warn. Yeah, well, you can honk your horn as long as you want. You have to wait. This guy is a bit scary, isn't he? The snow actually accumulate that fast in real life. Depends on how heavily it is snowing and temperatures and on what ground. If it is snowing properly, it accumulates quite fast. Would be cool if those guys could come up with a green hand signal or something like this. That's there, yes. Blue anchor down. I guess this here in the signal box, the guy is controlling the gates and the signal, probably interlocked. So as soon as you set the signal to green, the gates close for the road traffic. So now the 10 limit is a regular limit, not one that ends as soon as we are on the level crossing. But the vacuum brakes on those Mark 1 cars are so super responsive. As soon as you go beyond the 20%, almost immediately stalls the train. So, now we have poor visibility. A whiteout scenario. Pointing. Poor visibility. Poor visibility is more likely chance for Tiger to spread. Yeah, I hope I will make it in time. And excuse me if I coughed in the microphone and did not hit the button properly. Well, at least on this route I know quite well where the signals are. Warning board for a level crossing. That means we're approaching Dunster. And Dunster has level crossings on either side of the station. One with a 10 limit on this end and this notorious 5 miles limit on the other end. But I did not spat that often on stream, did I? On Cajon Pass, because I did not know where the signals were. And yeah. And the other day on West Cornwall local stream tour, because my boiler was too long. This is a rather unconventional thing here. Not that I overbraked because I missed my... I missed the limit to 10. But you have a regular limit to 10 with the round board. And indicators all the same at an open crossing without any barriers. So according to network rail rules, you would not get this round board with a whistle, but a sighting board with the Andrews cross. A very short spell of 15 limit before we get to the 5 limit. Limit to 5 starting here. At the combined whistle and speed board. Nevertheless, we would probably not whistle here when we are going to stop. Like this. So this is probably the setup that you would expect according to the RSSB rulebook. Combined speed and whistle board, and then an open crossing. Here is St. Andrews cross, and actually the cars are waiting. Well, with a train sitting on the platform. Must be annoying for them. And this here is definitely a situation where you would like to be able to go back to line speed as soon as you are on the level crossing, like now. But since this rule is not implemented, we have actually to wait until the whole train has cleared the marker for the opposing side here. That one. And not before this marker has been cleared, we can go back to line speed. I can do that. Careful on the snow with the regulator. Especially if we're driving without sand. Sand is overrated. Well, a thing with sand, it actually helps a lot on those steam engines in the game. So what was that? What did we just pass here? What thingies are flying here in the air? Interesting. If you don't really care about points, you can apply the real life stuff in the game. Yeah, that is true. If you could fire the steam to the front, it could melt the snow. That is an interesting idea. Use the steam to melt the snow and heat the rail to increase adhesion. It's actually a bit surprising that we are running low on steam here on this locomotive that is actually supposed to pull heavy freight trains, and we're going 25 miles with, okay, 7 Mark 1 cars. So, coming into Minehead, we will get the warning board first. Then the limit to 10. Add the sighting board or the speed board for the level crossing. So what we're getting at this level crossing is actually what you would expect according to the National Railroad rules. For an automatic half barrier crossing locally monitored. AOCL. Here's a different crossing. That's not the one that they warned us about. It's an open crossing. Just with a sign to pay attention. And there is the speed board for the level crossing with the St. Andrew's cross on top. What does the signal say? It's yellow. And very faintly we can see that the white light is flashing underneath. So this signal is special because the level crossing indicator is incorporated in the signal. But for some reason the white bulb is extremely weak on this signal here. Half barrier crossing. Feather was not on, and still we are going to the down platform. I think the feather should have been on here. And we are here in Minehead. Now we can put the brake to full, reverse it to mid gear, cocks open, doors open. Yeah. This is the beautiful remastered West Somerset Railroad. Railway. We're in Great Britain. Oh, look at this. So much speeding. Well, with a bit more focus, you can yeah, do it with less speeding, even when you're not looking on the HUD. What I wanted to demonstrate, thank you for the relaxing stream, Spectres. Thank you very much for that. I'm not completely finished now, because I wanted to demonstrate how nicely they actually animated this level crossing in front of Minehead in connection with the signal, and for that I wanted to switch to the free roam at Minehead. Maybe we go into the afternoon so that we don't have the problem so much with the light being so harsh. And unfortunately I have to walk to this position, so now we have it all for ourselves without anyone intervening. And we are running to this position where we just came in. I think sometime during the week I will make a little B-reel stream about what I've found does work and what does not work with the signaling. Here, some of the shunting signals do not really work as you would expect them to work. And the call-on signals are not used. If you want to go with your locomotive into a occupied track, the dispatcher realizes that the track is occupied, but still gives you the clear signal instead of the call-on signal. Hiking it is. Hiking. This is the level crossing, so at the moment the cars can go. Half barriers are up. Lights are off. No sound. And our entry signal here is displaying red. So that we would have to stop in front of the signal, obviously. And so much also in front of the level crossing. Let's spawn a new train here. For example, the 4F, or is my little loco that could. That I like to use for experiments. At the moment we don't have any path, so the signal is still red. And from what I've found out, this signal actually can give you 4 different aspects in the game. It can either send you to the platform on the southwest side, what is the loop platform, I think, or the bay platform it is called, or it can send you to the main platform, what is the one on the northeast side, or it could send you to the loco sidings, those are the sidings here to the right, or it can send you to the bay sidings, or are here to the left. And then in real life, from what I have learned from watching videos about the West Somerset Railway, it can also use this one in connection with sending you to a platform if there is a train already standing there. So this is something that the signal here in the game doesn't do from what I've seen. Well, maybe we will talk about this more in this extra stream that I said. So set the path and let's go to the loco sidings for example. Here to this thing here. Now the signal does not switch immediately because first, before the signal can be cleared, the level crossing has to be activated. So you can see the gates close, and now we get to the red the position light or surrogate signal that allows us to shunt in and go to the loco sidings. This is what the theater indicator here allows us to do. If I delete the path again, unfortunately the signal does not go back to red, it stays what it is, but the level crossing opens again. So this would be obviously a safety critical error, because now we have, in German we call it a hostile green situation, where on a crossing both parties have an indication that allows them to proceed, and that is what you don't want to have. So this signal should be reset to red, obviously, as soon as the path is deleted and the level crossing is opened again. What I wanted to show you is how this looks like for cars that are standing there, and this is animated, modeled very nicely in my opinion, because set path now to the bay sidings maybe. Let's see what happens. The problem is now actually there is a car trapped on the level crossing. You have seen amber light with the audible alarm, then the wig-wag, and now the car is trapped. The good thing is it is only half barriers, so they can clear the crossing. Yes, I am actually the one blocking the car with the camera. That is a weird thing, but the camera is able to block the path of passengers and cars. And then the cars is actually honking at the camera. Yeah, it did not get updated. It should be BS for bay sidings, because we are sent to the bay sidings. The down platform or bay platform would have the feather and the yellow, and the main platform would have the yellow without the feather and without anything on the indicator here. And if it is occupied, it should give you a red with the surrogate lights plus an M for main on the theater, but this is what does not happen here in the game. More about what I found out about the signaling and stuff maybe in a little stream sometime during the week. For now, this is that. Thank you very much for bearing with me, joining me on this Zen Garden style trip through the West Somerset Railway Remastered, and thank you very much DTG and everyone there who put in the effort to remaster this gem of a route. Thank you very much, take care, sorry again for all the coughing and the dogs, see you around.